Today discuss about Uncle Tom's Cabin, which is written by Stowe. So on he is Kentucky plantation in the 1840s. Mr. Selby, a gentleman and farmer, discusses a debate he owes to Haley, a slave trader. So, who is Haley? Haley is a slave trader, and Mr. Selby, a gentleman and a farmer. Okay, Selby presses Selby to sell Uncle Tom. So, Selby most trustworthy slave. So Uncle Tom, who is Uncle Tom? Uncle Tom is a Selby's most trustworthy slave, and Harry, the fair-skinned child of uh, Elijah, maid of Mrs. Selby. So who is Elijah? Elijah is Mrs. Selby, yes, Mrs. Selby's maid. Okay. Eliza is married to George Harris of another plantation, and a fair-skinned slave who once worked in a factory where he showed great ingenuity. Mm, George has decided to escape rather than waste his life laboring in the fields for his jealous master, who removed him from the factory. Sometime after George has already left, Eliza overhears the Sylvie discussing Tom and Harry's sale, and she and Harry flee towards Ohio with the idea of reaching Canada. So Halley is furious at Eliza's escape and attempts to track her, traveling with Sam, a cunning slave of Selby's. Sam manages to delay Halley uh, at the Ohio River in the middle of winter. Eliza jumps with Harry from ice floe to flow and lands in Ohio. They are taken in by a Quaker family and ruined with George Harris, who was been traveling in the guise of a Spanish gentleman. Okay. Uncle Tom decides not to try to escape. He sees it as his duty to be sold as his master intended. George, George Selby Jr., who loves Tom, sees him before the sale and promises to bring him back to uh, Kentucky. Hurley takes Tom on a steamboat down the Mississippi where they meet Augustine St. Clary, a wealthy man living in New Orleans with his daughter uh, Evangeline, wife Maria, and a large group of slaves. Augustine has been in the north to fetch his cousin Miss Ophelia, a stern religious woman who is to help raise Eva, a religious and kind-hearted girl. Eva and Tom become friends, and Tom saves Eva when she falls overboard. Uh, Saint Clary buys Tom. George, Eliza, Harry, and others are ciphered by King Quaker, including Phineas Fletcher, toward Sandusky, Ohio, on the lake boarding Canada. En route, two slaves catches Tom Locker and Marks, who are working for Hailey, nearly corner the escaping party, but George returns a gunshot fired by Marks and hits Locker, who is punished over a cha- chas- chasm by Fletcher and wounded. The slaves catchers flee, and George and his party carry Locker to recapture in another quicker home. Uncle Tom is treated well at the St. Clary estate. He and Eva read the Bible to one another. Miss Ophelia takes a young slave girl, Topsy, under her care. But Topsy continues to misbehave. Eva's health declines, though, and she announces she will soon return to her father in heaven. Eva promises to help Topsy and asks Saint Clary to promise that after her death he will become a practicing Christian and free his slaves. Eva dies and Saint Clary begins to carry out her wishes, but before he can, he is killed accidentally in a calf fight. Maria does not honor her husband's desire to free Tom, instead selling Tom to the cruel plantation owner Simon Legree. So Legree has also purchased Emmeline, uh, a teenage slave girl, and on the Legree plantation near the Red River. Uncle Tom meets Cassie, a once beautiful slave. Okay, Legree puts Tom to work in the fields and asks him to whip a fellow slave in order to harden Tom. Tom says he will do anything his master says except hurt another human being. Legree and his overseers, Sambo and Quimbo, beat Tom mercilessly, hoping to crush his religious spirit. Inspired by Tom, Cassie and Emmeline plan to escape by storing materials in the attic, which they convince Legree is haunted and hiding there after creating the appearance of escape through a swamp. They depart in earnest some days later. Legree takes his anger out on Tom, morally wounding him. Back in Ohio, Locker discovers he is being cared for by Quakers. Despite his attempts to catch George and Eliza, he recognizes his first weakness and repents. Meanwhile, the Harris family crosses to Canada by boat. George Selby Jr. Arrives at the Legree plantation and sees Tom before his death. Tom asks George to be a good Christian, and George swears he will never own slaves and will work to free them. On a boat back to Kentucky, George runs into Cassie and Emmeline. They meet. Madame D. Thokes, a wealthy woman revealed to be George Harry's long lost sister. This party Minas George travels to Montreal, where the Harris live. Detox is ruined with her brother, and Cassie is revealed to the Elijah's mother. George returns to the Silby estate, frees his slaves, and declares that Uncle Tom's cabin will always be a symbol of goodness and faith. Bleacher Stowe closes the novel by swearing that its characters are based in reality and that slavery is an unchristian institution that must be eliminated.